So yes, first of all, welcome everybody. Obviously, I'm here on behalf of Blue Wave Select today. My name's Lisa Mahoney, and I'm one of the kind of community managers for SAP Network Plus. For those that haven't heard of Blue Wave Select, we are the highest rated SAP recruitment agency in the UK and the co-creators of SAP Network Plus. And Blue Wave Select are one of the only agencies to be partnered with SAP, trained experts in S4HANA, and they have a 99% Trustpilot rating. If you'd like more information about Blue Wave Select, I will add a link into the chat shortly, and you'll be able to have a little look there. Today we're joined by Faraz and Trinaf, who are here today. From their many years of experience, they're going to be able to help you confidently prepare for any kind of future developments coming in the SAP space, and in particular with a focus on how you can leverage BTP and CPI for a smooth migration from ECC to S4. So the session will run for about 30 minutes today, and we are recording it. This recording will be available afterwards, so feel free obviously to send that to anyone you like, anyone who might find it useful. And also, if you're listening to the call today and you're thinking that you would like to have the opportunity to pick Faraz and Trinaf's brains a little bit further, then we will put an email address into the chat for you to be able to contact us and let us know that's something that you would like to do, and you can have a free session with the two of them. So let's kick off. And first of all, let's go to these questions. Okay. So I think we're coming to you first, Faraz, for the first question. And I just wondered if you could tell me what's new with, in terms of ECC versus S4HANA, what's new and why should people migrate, and what are the kind of functional changes that we need to be aware of?
Yes, hi, thanks, Lisa. So this question is actually for Srinath, because he will cover more in technical details around it. And then once Srinath has covered, then I will just touch base a little bit on the functional side of the changes, because it's very important for the audience to know the technical changes that have happened between ECC and S4HANA, because with the combined experience that we've had, we are able to help the people who are willing to, migrate. So maybe Srinath, you can start, and then I can, in the end, add the functional benefits of
Sure.
S4HANA.
Sure. Thank you, Faraz, and thank you, Lisa. Good afternoon to everyone. So I'll list down the most. I will list down only 5 of the most important differences between ECC and S4HANA with respect to the architecture. The very first one is the database. ECC runs on a traditional relational database like Oracle, DB2, and SQL Server, whereas S4HANA uses a SAP HANA in-memory database, which is much more faster than the traditional database. And if you look at the GUI or user interface in ECC, it's SAP's own native GUI, which is there as a part of ECC. But in S4HANA, you have the Fiori-based user interface offering a much more modern, responsive, and intuitive design with all your applications. And the third point I'm going to talk about is the data model. And in ECC, the data model is complex and a fragmented data model, whereas in S4HANA, the data model is integrated between the transactional and the analytics data in a unified structure, so that you don't have to have a separate placeholder for your analytics data. And the fourth main difference is the deployment options that we have. In ECC, you always have to go with an on-premise installation. It doesn't mean that you cannot do a cloud installation. You can, but as a product, ECC is not built for cloud. So ECC can only be performing well on an on-premise kind of setup. Whereas in S4, you have the cloud setup, you have an on-premise setup, you also have a hybrid setup. And with respect to functionality and capabilities, As we know, ECC has been around for many years, and so it covers a lot of the functionalities that a business would require for their day-to-day business process to be taken care of. But many features that are there in ECC are outdated, and it is not future ready as well. Whereas in SAP S/4HANA, it has more future-proof components into it, like enabling IoT services, AI, ML, and you can even integrate your SAP with your blockchain. So that will be the main differences between ECC and S/4HANA with respect to the architecture.
Excellent, thank you, Trinav. And now could you tell us a little bit more about SAP BTP and why that's critical to the S/4HANA ecosystem?
Right, absolutely. So SAP BTP stands for Business Technology Platform. It's a combination of database, data management, analytics, and application development, and also integration, all in one platform. So what is the benefit of it? You can innovate new business processes using all these platforms or all these tools inside the platform, and you also get a real-time cloud, real-time analytics reports using the BTP platform. And it integrates with various third-party applications as well. It'll help you integrate with various third-party applications as well. And also, any reports that you generate out of the BTP can be real time. So that's the BTP on a nutshell.
So just to add on what Trinath has said, in order to work with BTP, maybe Trinath, you can correct me, you have to, with S/4HANA, you have to set up a BTP environment. So in the BTP, the BTP environment is an external environment. We have to subscribe to that and get access to the SAP BTP cockpit. And then you get an extension suite. So and then there's a studio to develop the applications, which I think you get provision to SAP HANA Cloud and set up the HANA Cloud for storing any additional data or logs. So like compared to what you have been developing before in your ECC system, it's actually moved to an external, which we call a side-by-side approach, which means that you don't have to do any code changes in your standard application. The standard application is not affected with BTP in place because it comes with integration and pre-built connectors with APIs. Anything you want to add, Trinath?
Yes. So top of it, you also have the integration suite, which has 4 main components, which will help you do your cloud integration, which is to integrate any application to application, business to business, cloud to cloud, cloud to on-premise, any kind of integration that you want to do. And apart from that, you can also do API management. You can connect with any Microsoft Dynamics or Salesforce systems. And there is also event mesh, which is kind of like a event-based trigger mechanism to do your mundane routine processes. And apart from that, BTP also offers extension suite, which will help you extend your SAP standard applications without touching the core code, which in other words is called clean core approach. Like you don't have to go into the ABAP code and make changes in the ABAP code. You can just extend any applications from the Fiori. It's called like for us, it's called side-by-side extension. So this extension should comprises of SAP Fiori, SAP BAS, and SAP Mobile Services, and also your cloud application programming model, which is called CAPM. Not only so in order to do any application in BTP, it's not required that you need to know ABAP anymore. You can still do using your Node.js and React.js and deploy those applications into your SAP BTP platform, making it more versatile for any developer to come in and they create their own applications in SAP.
Brilliant, thank you both. And I also wanted to ask you about SAP CPI and how that facilitates integration during and after migration. So Trinav, if we perhaps come to you first, and then Faraz, if you've anything to add, that would be great.
Absolutely, yeah. So there are three ways of doing migration. One is the greenfield, the other, second one is the brownfield, and the third one is selective data migration. So if a customer is choosing to go for a selective data migration, the role of CPI is very, very important in this case. The reason why I'm saying is, let's say, suppose you're moving only a selective data from your ECC landscape to your S4, and then you still want to continue some of the operations on your ECC. And in future, if you want to migrate them to S4, and then you want to have a copy of the data always getting replicated to S4, then you always need a connection between your ECC and your S4. And this can be established through CPI, either using an IDOC protocol or as an OData service, or as a REST JSON service as well. And with CPI, you also have an option to do B2B communications as well. Earlier, there was a system called PA and PO, which had an add-on added to it, which will help us do any EDI transactions between customers and vendors. The same has been evolved into CPI right now, and we can do that as well in CPI. So CPI has a very vital role in any kind of migration for greenfield, brownfield, and most importantly for the selective data migration.
Perfect.
Yep.
Anything to add to that for us?
Just one thing, Trinath, on the CPI bit is also the option to integrate with a third-party application. CPI is of major use.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
can you give an example that we've recently done?
Oh, yes. So we have integrated with many third-party applications such as Salesforce, Workday with respect to HR or human HCM side, and one of this native product called Ariba, and also another cloud product called SuccessFactors, which is a product of SAP itself. So all these integrations are pre-built and they are readily available for you in CPI, so that the development time is going to be very less when you want to engage CPI in between for any integration. And I mean, growing number of third-party applications like ServiceNow. We have integrated ServiceNow to a huge extent for many customers because recently ServiceNow has been a game changer, and many SAP integrations many clients are using CPI to integrate to ServiceNow, and there are pre-built packages delivered in CPI for your ServiceNow integration as well. Those are some of the key areas for us, and also
Yes.
there is a chance of doing cloud to cloud and cloud to on-premise kind of integration, like your cloud for customers, right? All those are possible through CPI. We have multiple connectors. You have connectors, open connectors as part of CPI. You can just use them to connect with any non-native SAP applications as well.
Yes.
Excellent.
I think,
you.
yeah. No, I mean, in the interest of time, we can't go into too much technical details of explaining. So I think it's essential to cover the key ones, and then anybody can come back with more detail. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
Yeah,
Lisa.
absolutely. I think an important thing to mention at this point as well is that you're very welcome to add questions into the chat. We won't be answering them live, but actually Faraz and Trinath will come back to you directly after the webinar. So if you do have any specific questions, obviously feel free to pop those into the chat and we'll make sure you get an answer. Okay, so let's move on to the next question then. So I was wondering, again, we'll start with you, Trinath. Can you tell us a little bit more about the roadmap for migrating from ECC to S4HANA?
Absolutely, yes. So the first step, very first step that we will do is the assessment. We will do look at the custom code that an existing customer has on their existing ECC setup, and we will run an ATC, which is called a ABAP test cockpit, which will tell if this code needs to be adjusted to be moved to S/4HANA or not. And this will take care of all the custom codes that the existing custom code that the customer has. And the second step would be to simplification item catalog, which is to get a list of functionalities that will get affected by the S/4HANA upgrade, so that the business can take key decisions based on that. Some areas I can pinpoint is like the finance new GL, and in the material it's the material ledger, and for instance business partner. Earlier it used to be vendor and customer of two different entities. Now it's just business partner. Both vendor and customer are considered as business partner. After the assessment, we will have to do a data cleanup, and there are multiple ways to do data cleanup. There is some SAP provided tool called SAP Information Steward, which can help you do the data identify. It will help you identify the erroneous data, inconsistent data, and duplicate data, and all that. And also there is another tool which is called SAP S/4HANA Migration Cockpit, which will help you migrate your cleansed data, or it will help you extract the data from your ECC, cleanse it, and then migrate it into your S/4HANA. And they already have a standard objects like this already covers standard objects such as your material master, vendor master, customer master, and without minimal to less manual efforts in between. And the third step would be the transition. The actual conversion will happen at the transition step. There is a software update manager utility with which you can do the data migration from your old traditional database to your S4 database. And also there is a downtime optimization option where you will run like a near zero downtime kind of migration, which is like you can do it on within like a fewer time. I mean lesser time than your regular upgrades or regular ECC upgrades. And I would also like to list down some of the best practices that we follow during our migration. Main best practice I would think is to do what you want to do in the sandbox environment, and make sure all the migration of your data and your functionality and your business processes are working fine. And the second important thing that I want to point here is have a fallback mechanism in case if something goes wrong. Like you may have a ECC box which has inefficient business processes, and if you try to bring them to your S/4HANA, you may have some kind of issues during your go live. So in such cases, you always need to have a fallback mechanism. And also you can also leverage the tools provided by SAP for doing the migration, such as your downtime optimization, your ATC, your migration cockpit. All of that will help. So you need to know which tool to be used for what purpose. So that's a very key thing that you need to have an understanding about. And SAP also provides a readiness check tool, which will tell you what are the business functions that will affect, and what are the compatible custom codes that you need to fix. And there is also a performance and workload insights which SAP provides for your database tables, and also for your transaction activities, which is happening on your existing setting. So there is one catch here. Sometimes the upgrade can happen directly, but sometimes if your ECC system is low in stack, to be able to do the migration of the data, you may have to up your stack in ECC, and then you will do a migration to S4. that also is quite possible with that we have come across such certain clients who had to, abstract their ICC before doing the SAP migration. So that also is a key factor to, consider.
Brilliant. That's really helpful. Thank you, Trinath. Anything
Okay.
to add to that for us?
No, I think what Trinath mentioned is absolutely essential. And the only thing I would like to add is different clients have adopted different approaches when it comes to ECC to S/4HANA migration. So as I think in the initial bit, Trinath mentioned about greenfield and brownfield. So some of the clients that have used the greenfield implementation where they realized that by upgrading, it would take much more time because the system is too far behind to upgrade it to S/4HANA. So it depends which methodology to pick when it comes to ECC to S/4HANA migration.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, both. Just one final question I think is pretty pertinent, which is how BTP and CPI can actually enable scalability and adaptability for future business needs. Obviously, it's a big investment, so something that people are going to be concerned with. So Trinath, did you want to take that one first?
Right. So it's a world which keeps on changing. So you need to have a system which can adapt to the future technologies that are coming in. So with BTP and CPI, you can add your embedded AI to it. You can do ML. You can do predictive analysis on all your data. For example, like if you are a manufacturing company and if you have a machine, and if the machines has sensors in it, you can read that sensor data, and then if something is going to go wrong with that machine, you can do a predictive analysis and do a preventive maintenance for that machine so that there is no downtime on your manufacturing. So such is an example for using BTP and CPI, which will help you do all this integration between your machine, which is connected to internet using IoT, and to the system, so that you know what kind of maintenance order has to be created, and everything can be automated. Another example would be in the area of integrated business planning, which is to optimize your inventory levels and forecast demand with high accuracy. I mean, earlier products of SAP also did the forecasting, but it cannot involve or include the other factors into consideration. But with ML, you can always do a tool which can integrate your data with the current ongoing things in the world, and then it can give you forecast for your demand with high level of accuracy. And then with AI in the picture, you can integrate your AI with your SAP success factors to analyze employee data to predict any kind of turnover risk or any retention strategies that you want to apply to any employees. And one more added feature that you can also do is you can do a ML powered tool that can that can screen resumes and rank candidates based on requirements, and which will speed up your hiring processes. So these are some of the key areas which can help the business innovate a new business process and reduce manual errors, and also give a powerful support to the business with all the new available tools. And also at the same time, it also has future perspective, new tools added to the BTP platform. I mean, the moment we are speaking, there could be 4 more tools already added. So it's growing pretty enormously, is what I'm seeing for the past 8 years. So.
Any final points for us before we close out?
No, I think from the functional side of things, if people wanted to know what are the benefits for the users and for the end users when it comes to S/4HANA. So there are a couple, as people in the call might already know about Fiori, user experience, and embedded analytics and stuff. So I just wanted to quickly touch on the embedded analytics piece, which is what is very new with the S/4HANA system. So it refers to the real-time analytics capabilities, which is integrated directly with the transactional system. Like in the ECC system, you used to have traditional reporting, which involves extracting data to separate systems. But with S/4HANA, everything is embedded. So you can have all the functionalities within the S/4HANA system to use. So that is another advantage. And also, there are few things which with S/4HANA that are not available, like advanced ATP and your advanced features of predictive accounting and all that is also part of S/4HANA. So there's a lot of other user experience benefits with S/4HANA, which I think most people know, but it's always good to highlight.
Brilliant. Thank you both. We've had lots of brilliant questions come in as well. So as I mentioned earlier, we'll make sure that you get started with those questions and you can come back to people directly. And yeah, hopefully that will help some of our audience out. And if you'd actually like the opportunity to have a one-to-one session with Trinath and Faraz, we are giving that away as a freebie on the webinar today. I'm going to put a little email address in the chat here, which is phil@bluewaveselect.com. Phil was supposed to be hosting the session today, but if you missed it at the beginning, unfortunately we had some technical difficulties, so I've had to step in. But Phil will be very happy to help if you're interested in having a one-to-one session with our wonderful guests today. So yeah, thank you both for your time. I think that's been a really concise, helpful session. And yes, any obviously requests that we get through we'll send your way, and I hope that you've enjoyed yourself.
Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, very much. I mean, it was very difficult to put everything together in half an hour, so we tried as much as can, and then yeah, I hope it adds value to the listeners.
Absolutely. Well, you did a great job. Thank you very much, and thanks for everyone that's joined us today as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.